you like the video, it'll be my honor if you can like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And there are a lot more figure diorama photography as well as figure height comparison at the end of this video, so please watch and enjoy until the end. Now, let's begin. Hello everyone, how's everybody doing today? And today we are going to be reviewing Marvel Legend War Machine, and War Machine rocks, and he does rock. So I'm a fan. Well, I think most of you, if you have been watching my video, I'm a fan from the comic series, and I was waiting for a comic accurate War Machine for a very long time. When they announced a Alex Ross version Iron Man, I was like, that looks very nice, but if we can just have War Machine right beside, then it could just add more sparkles. Then they announced War Machine, and not only just War Machine, but a lot of sparkles. And yes, the sculpt is my beloved 80s design War Machine. I collected comic book from the 80s, and meanwhile Iron Man was really not popular. No one cared about Iron Man. Well, some fans did, and I did too. But not many people. If he wasn't anyone's, top tier, popular list guy. MCU is the only thing that actually made him this popular. Until then, he was like a C-class popularity. So most of the fans today, I would say 95% are from the MCU. But back then, there were people like us who loved Iron Man and also War Machine. And the War Machine in the comic did have more. He was very different from Iron Man, and I was a little bit scared watching the MCU because he didn't feel too separately from Iron Man, because he all he was Tony, right? So I was a little bit worried that he'll be kind of in the back shadow, which he kind of is. So in the comics, we see him, his own line stories and so on. But unfortunately, in the comics, in the MCU, he's still a side character, a backup character of Iron Man. And I think that War Machine deserves his own movie if you do it right. And you have to do it right, because this guy is not Tony Stark. He's a military, machine with, Rhodey inside. So this War Machine, I think the detail is phenomenal. As you can see, all these weapons does move independently. And one thing great about War Machine, and one thing that Iron Man 2 movie did great, was that when he's fighting, you did see all these weapons, moving on its own. So that was awesome. I really liked it. So let's take a look at his accessory. You can pop these out, and I'll just do that so it's easier for me to show you how he moves around. His head goes 360 as expected, and very nice tilt. Looks down, up and down. His shoulder is really limited because of his, the pad, and the pad itself is actually connected to the body itself. If it's connected, to his shoulder, then probably it would have, moved around much better. But because it's connected to the shoulder, you kind of have to move the shoulder up, and then move the shoulder pad up, and then move the shoulder up, and still, that's the best you can do. But he's War Machine, right? You don't need much. His bicep goes 360. His elbow goes that much, which I think is decent enough. I'm just happy just getting a hand of him, so it's a fanboy thing. But his wrist goes down that much and goes up that much. And his arm would come out that much and back that much. Now let's check out the ab crunch, because I really like figures that can ab crunch, and he does decent enough. And again, it's a suit, so, and he had almost zero ab back crunch. So, but again, he is a suit, right? Like, it's like armor. So, we don't expect too much movement from War Machine or Iron Man. 360 on his waist. He's split that much, decent enough. He kicks out that much, really nice. His knee goes in that much, really great. There's a cut in his side, so side would go 362. Also his ankle goes around that much. Now, he can't kick back due to his, well, ass. But overall, I really like the design. I really like these, I don't know what you call these little boxy thing that he gets around his body. Very distinctive comparing to the Iron Man. And the color is matte black, but you also get a silver design right here, which really is a good contrast to Iron Man. So I really like that. One thing we can all kind of see is that because War Machine is a new figure, it has the new joint techniques that it can hide the peg holes. Iron Man unfortunately doesn't have that, and I just realized Iron Man bicep looks a little bigger, maybe? I saw they would reuse it, but apparently they can't use it. Yeah, this is a completely new sculpt. And for the Alex Ross version themed Iron Man here, they really did well with the gold. I really like it. Simple Iron Man that we loved in the back. Well, this wasn't the 80s version, because when I was reading the comic during the 80s, he had a very distinctive armor, which I really liked. This is more of a, well, way before the 80s. So, but they kind of match the gold and silver. So, this silver does look nice, just that it does have a little bit of marbling here and there. I'm not too worried about marbling. For this War Machine, we do still have a slight marbling around his body, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm quite okay with it, unless it's like a very big, obvious marbling look. Unless otherwise, I'm quite fine with it. And I just realized the material they use for the body, the silver, I mean, and his arm and leg is different. And from what I see, I think the body material was actually black, and they painted over silver on top of it, and that's why the color here and the arm is different. But yeah, it's overall, I really think it's a really good figure, and I'm so happy that they focused on that 80s design. It could be a little earlier than the 80s, but yeah, looks awesome. I like it. I like it a lot. So we also do get Rhodey's head, and yes, I'm very happy that they gave us a Rhodey head. We can simply snap the head. Oh, it's not that simple. There we go, and put Rhodey's head, and there we go. Yeah, looks really nice. Unfortunately, that he only comes with one pair of hand, which is a fisted hand. So I was hoping that they could give us a pair of open hand if we're gonna get so much accessories. But yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer. However, they are, I think, reusing the Iron Man hand right here. So I'm just guessing that if you do have two Iron Man, maybe you might be able to just color the hand black and just, yeah, it works. It's the same hand. So if you want to do that, you can do that too. But I don't have two Iron Men, so even though I love Alex Ross design, technically it's not his full design, because I think they reused some parts from the other Iron Man, but the theme, color, and so on was from Alex Ross, a legendary artist. So I love this Iron Man the most. And yes, you could swap Rhodey's head onto the Iron Man body, because he did that in the comic when Tony was gone. Someone needed to, pick up the mantle, and Rhodey did it for just a short period of time. And he does look a little skinny, but yeah, that's completely accurate. It happened. And I don't think this happened, but you can also swap and put Tony's head, which is slightly very hard, but now you gotta buffed Tony Stark. I think he looked a little too buffed. But yeah, it's completely doable. Now let's start talking about the accessories we got, because this guy come with quite a bit of accessories. So first of all, we got, like we got a Gatling gun right here. And it's not the sharpest sculpt, but it still does the job. It still look good. And he also come with I think it was a missile, but yeah, there we go. Yeah, missile cannon, I think. Really, really nice. So let's pop those back inside. Now you can put them on both sides. However, if you do put the cannon, or Gatling gun, on this side, what happened is that the scope does hit the head, so you'll get less articulation going on around the head. Oh, sorry, I mean this side. Yeah, if you put it on this side, this scope right here will keep hitting the head right there. So I would suggest you to put it on this side. When it comes to that accurate, maybe not, because usually people do look through the scope. So naturally that scope should be this way, but now it's an armor, and at the same time this thing does move on its own. So in that way, probably you don't need to look at that scope from the scope, because it's all connected, right? So Rhodey can probably see everything, what's going on within his helmet. So I would rather have that Gatling gun on this side instead of that side, because it would not restrict too much of the range of articulation. So that's just my little suggestion. He comes with a missile, which you can just place them in here. Oop. This way. So yeah, nice addition. And I don't know how Hasbro always recycle their accessories, so I'm not too sure how they're gonna recycle this, because I'm very sure they will, and they should, because it's such a nice piece of accessory. And you also get this effect where you're shooting like that. One thing, just to be realistic, this is not so realistic, because this is this is the earliest shot. This is like a shot before, so this one should be shooting out further, and the one that he just shot should be shooting not so further. What do you mean? Like it's supposed to be like that instead, to be realistic, because you're moving on left to right. Then the shot on the far left will be outside more compared to the shot you're doing to the far right. So this would be more correct, but I think they just did it. They just flopped it to make it look more menacing or something like that. Not too sure, but it's a nice piece of accessory to have. Now you also get this effect. It looked like a blast effect on his foot, but actually you put it right at his Gatling gun right there. It's a simple effect, but it's really effective. So you can have both of these flying around and do a big War Machine pissed off attack mode. So there we go. Oh god. And yes, it is a deluxe figure, and I think this is worthy of a deluxe figure. I don't know how many people care about War Machine, especially, MCU came out. He's really not treated as his own character, so there's less fan comparing to Iron Man or any other character. And in the comic, Iron Man wasn't that popular back then, and so War Machine wasn't that popular too. But I loved War Machine. You also get this effect. Sorry, I forgot to show you first, but it's a flying ignition effect, and you get these where you slot that burner inside the smoke, and what you do is you peg these effects into his shoes. But the thing is, it's not that strong, so if you just hit it, then it'll come off really easily. So just be careful, because it really doesn't stick in there too well. I'm just gonna slowly insert that in. It's not the best support, because he's actually just standing there by gravity and nothing more. So, and the peg isn't that great. So as you can see, not the best thing ever, but nice effect, nice try, I would say, but really not the best, because there you go, finally. Go back, take a look. Yeah, there we go. So you can kind of mimic that he's flying or he's coming down. Now I haven't tried for Iron Man, but I assume you can do the same thing for I have his head off. There we go. Sorry about that. Let's put peg in. I assume you can do the same with Iron Man. There you go. Yeah, you can do the same with Tony. So it's a very nice piece. If it's more secure, then it would have been better, but unfortunately it's not. So what do I think about the figure? Before talking about what do I think about the figure, he also comes with a smoke effect that I kind of lost. It's such a small effect, but I'll put the photo right here. It looks fine. It's not like needed, not that it's mandatory or anything. I'd rather have a pair of open hand, but yeah, it's also anything that's extra is always nice. So overall, this figure of the War Machine, I think it's excellent. It is the best War Machine figure I ever seen, now excluding the import, that is. So I think the best War Machine we got from the West, and very comic accurate. And yes, I kept using War Machine a lot in the Marvel vs. Capcom, not the 3D one, because I was a little bit too old and I already graduated gaming. I'm talking about the one in the 2D game. I was using War Machine a lot. It's a little one thing, the War Machine in the comic came with a massive armor, like a huge armor. And I wanted to see that in the end game, but we didn't see it, unfortunately. And I also wanted to see a proton cannon, which was a badass weapon, but we also didn't see that. So it's a little bummer that we didn't get those two. But I think these two figures are awesome, because the MCU didn't offer us a proton cannon or the massive armored War Machine. Maybe Hasbro might offer those two in the Marvel Legends for their comic line. I'm not too sure. They're huge, so maybe not. But hey, if someone's doing a 3D print of that, let me know. And yeah, I'll take some photo and see you all soon. Thank you very much for watching my figure unboxing photography review. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Currently, there are only 6% of my audience who are subscribed, and I feel a little bit lonely here, so your subscription will give me inspiration to go on further. Thank you again, and see you all soon. 遊びでやってるんだよ。